everyone, welcome back to Pabbly. In this video, we're going to learn how to create Brevo contact on Cognito Forms submission. So I'm an owner of a real estate agency and using Cognito Forms, I have created a form with the help of which I collect my leads data. And I use Brevo to manage all my leads and their information. Here what I want is that as soon as I give the lead, a new form submission is going to be done using Cognito Forms. I want to add that lead as a contact in my Brevo account. Now creating these contacts manually can be very time consuming. So what I've done is I've simply automated this entire process with the help of Pabbly Connect, which is an amazing automation and integration software. And here in this automation, I'm going to build a connection between Cognito Forms and Brevo with the help of it. So if you also want to learn about this amazing automation process step by step, for that let me take you to my screen. In this video, we're going to learn how to create Brevo contact on Cognito Forms submission. So as an owner of a real estate agency, I use Cognito Forms to collect the property inquiries from my leads. And I also use Brevo to manage my email marketing and stay in touch with my leads. The problem that I face is manually transferring client details from Cognito Forms to my Brevo, which is time consuming and prone to errors. So to solve this, I've automated this entire process. Now, whenever a new lead is going to fill the form using Cognito Forms, automatically that lead is going to be created as a contact in my Brevo account. And how we're going to do that? By creating the automation between these two applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. So on the screen, you can see the website of Pabbly Connect, that is pabbly.com/connect. After browsing this website, we need to sign into our Pabbly Connect account. But if you're a new user, you can sign up for free and get 100 free tasks every month. So as I'm an existing user, I'm going to sign into my Pabbly Connect account. After signing in, you can see the All Pabbly Apps window in front of you, in which you can see all the applications of Pabbly, from which we are going to select Pabbly Connect by clicking on this Access Now button. Then Pabbly Connect's dashboard is going to appear in front of you. In order to start an automation process in Pabbly Connect, we need to create a workflow. For that, click on this top right corner button right here that says Create Workflow. A dialog box is then going to appear in front of you, which is asking for the workflow name and for us to select a folder. So for the name of my workflow over here, I'm going to give it as Create Brevo Contact on Cognito Forms Submission. So this is the name that I want to give to my workflow, okay? After that, it is asking for us to select a folder. So on the left side of my screen, you can see I've created multiple folders in my Pabbly Connect account, from which I'm going to select a specific folder in which I want to save this workflow in. For that, click on this drop down. These are the folders from which I'm going to select Cognito Forms Automations as the folder I want to save this workflow in. After giving the name to the workflow and selecting the folder, I'm going to click on this Create button in order to create a workflow. A workflow is created in the name of Create Brevo Contact on Cognito Forms Submission, and there are two windows in front of you. One says Trigger, other says Action. So what is Trigger and Action? Trigger and action are the two most important steps of our automation process because our process depends on these two concepts. Over here, trigger says when this happens, and action says do this. That means what is action? Action is a response to our trigger. In an automation process, there can be only one trigger step but multiple action steps. We are going to set up our trigger step first. And for the trigger application, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as Cognito Forms. Cognito Forms is an online tool that lets us create customizable forms for collecting information from people easily. Cognito Forms provides user-friendly platform and drag and drop feature to design form exactly the way you want. And using Cognito Forms, I am collecting the data of my leads. I want that as soon as by the lead of form submission is going to be done using Cognito Forms, automatically over here, Pabbly Connect should capture the response of that. And that is for my trigger application. I have selected it as Cognito Forms. And over here for my trigger event, I'm going to select it as new entry. After selecting the trigger application and the event, you can see Pabbly Connect has provided us with a webhook URL. Using this webhook URL, we are going to build a connection between Cognito Forms and Pabbly Connect by following the steps given here below in the help desk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this URL from here. After copying the URL, I'm going to open the form that I've created using Cognito Forms. So this is the form. With the help of it, I'm going to collect my leads data, and now we're going to connect this form to Pabbly Connect. For doing that, from the left side of the panel, over here in the settings, it says post JSON data to a website. I'm going to toggle this button on right here. And as I'm going to do that over here, it is asking for three different kind of endpoints. I'm going to select the endpoint over here, submit entry endpoint. And in this field, I'm going to paste the webhook URL that Pabbly Connect has provided us. Okay. After pasting the webhook URL, I am going to save the changes that I've created. For that, I'm going to click on the save button right here. As I'm going to do that, the changes are been successfully now saved in this form right here. As the changes are now been saved, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my workflow and scroll down. It is saying waiting for webhook response. So now to check whether Cognito Forms is successfully connected to Pabbly Connect or not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the test form submission of this form that I've created using Cognito Forms. And after doing the test submission, I'm going to check whether Pabbly Connect captures the response of the test form submission or not. Okay. For doing the test submission from this panel, I'm going to go to this publish section right here. After coming to publish, this is the link of this form. I'm going to open this link right here. So this is the form that I've created, and now we're going to do the test submission of this form. So firstly, it is asking for the first name of our lead. So for the first name over here, I'm going to write it as new. For the last name over here, I'm going to write it as lead66. For the email over here, I'm going to write it as newlead66@pabblytudes.com. For the phone number over here, I'm going to write in a dummy mobile number. So I've written the dummy mobile number right here. For the property type, I'm going to select the property type as residential property. And for the city over here, I'm going to select it as Bhopal, okay? After filling all the required details, I'm going to click on the submit button right here. As I've done that, it says thank you for filling out the form. As now the test submission is done, I'm going to open my workflow and scroll down. And yes, you can see right over here, Pabbly Connect has captured the response. For the property type, it is selected as residential property. The first name comes over here as new. The last name comes as lead66. For the phone number, this is dummy mobile number. This is the form name, that is the contact us form. If I'm going to further scroll down, over here, if I'm going to scroll down, you can see the email comes as newlead66@pabblytudes.com. With the city over here comes as Bhopal, you can see right here. As the response is captured using Cognito Forms, this means that Cognito Forms is successfully connected to Pabbly Connect and a trigger setup is done. Now, whenever by the lead a new form submission is going to be done using Cognito Forms, automatically in the similar manner, Pabbly Connect is going to capture the response of that. After setting up our trigger step, we need to set up our action step. And for the action application over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it as Brevo right here. Brevo is all-in-one email marketing and customer relationship management tool designed to help businesses to connect with their customers more effectively. It allows us to create and send beautiful email campaigns, manage our contact list, and using Brevo, I manage the contacts of my leads. Okay. I want that as soon as the form submission is going to be done using Cognito Forms, automatically contact of that lead should be created. And for that, I've selected my action application as Brevo. And for the action event over here, I'm going to select as create or update contact. And then over here, I'm going to click on this connect button. A window is going to appear in front of you on which click on add new connection, or else you can select the existing connection that you have. After that, over here it is asking for the domain and the API key. So for our domain over here, it says the domain is going to be api.yourdomainname.com. So in my URL, you can see right over here, my domain is Brevo right here. So the domain is already selected, that is api.brevo.com right here. Okay. After that, it is asking for the API key. So for the API key over here, we have to log into our Brevo account, and then after logging in, we have to click on this hyperlink SMTP and API page right here. As I'm going to do that, I'm going to click on this generate a new API key button right here. It is asking for the API name. So for the API name over here, I'm going to select it as new contacts. Okay, then I'm going to click on this generate button right here. As I'm going to do that, the API key is generated. I'm going to copy it from here and paste it right over here. Okay. After filling all the required details, I'm going to click on this save button right here. As I've done that, you can see now Brevo is successfully connected to Pabbly Connect. After connecting, it is asking for all these details that we are going to create the contact with. Okay. It is asking for the email. So for the data of this field, what I'm going to do is I am going to map the data. What is mapping? Mapping means inserting data from the previous step. So we're going to insert the data from the previous step of this workflow. And how mapping works is that as soon as I'm going to click on this field, this was the previous response that was captured. And with the help of this response, we're going to create the contact in our Brevo account. As it is asking for the email, I'm going to search for the email right here. I have received the email of my lead. You can see right over here. And as with the help of this form submission, I want to create the contact in my Brevo account. So for the data of this email field, I'm going to select the data from my previous response. As I've selected the data from my previous response, the data is mapped. And as I map the data has now become dynamic. That means whenever a new response is now going to be captured in our previous step, automatically the new data is going to be updated in place of this map data. Next, it is asking for all these fields, so I'm going to select it as true right here. After that, it is asking for the list. So I've created a new list over here in the name of new leads. You can see right over here. And in this list, I want to add the contacts in. So for the list over here, I'm going to select it as new leads, okay? After selecting the list over here, it is asking for the update enabled. I'm going to select it as true. After that, it is asking for this sender right over here, which I do not require, so I'm going to skip the part. For the first name over here, I'm going to map the data of the first name that I've received. For the last name over here, I'm going to map the data of the last name that I've received right here. Then it is asking for all these details, which I do not require, so I'm going to skip the part right here. After that, over here, it is asking for the note. So for the notes over here, I'm going to write it as property type. And for the property type, I'm going to select the property type right here. That is the residential property response. Okay. After that, over here, it is asking for the WhatsApp. So over here in this field, I'm going to map the date of the phone number that I've received of my lead. After filling in all the required details, I'm going to click on this Save and Send Test Request button. As I've done that, over here, we've received a response, which is a positive response. So now I'm going to open a Brevo account. So this is a list right over here. I'm going to refresh this list from here. As I've refreshed the list, you can see over here, a new contact has been added to this list in the name of new lead. With the phone number, you can see right over here, first name as new, last name as lead 66. Over here, this is the created date and time right here. If I'm going to open this contact, you can see this is the email right over here. This is the phone number. And in the notes, it comes as property type as residential property, okay? As the contact has now been successfully created in my Brevo account, this means that we successfully created an automation between contactors form and Brevo with the help of Pabbly Connect. So now to sum up till now what we have done, I am an owner of a real estate agency and I have created a form using Cognito Forms with the help of which I collect the data of my leads. In the trigger, I've selected it as Cognito Forms new entry, as whenever a new form submission is going to be done by the lead using Cognito Forms, automatically the response of that is going to be captured in the trigger right here. And as I wanted to create that lead as a contact in my Brevo account, for that I've set up this action step over here in which I've selected my action application as Brevo and action event as create or update contact. And with the help of Pabbly Connect, I have created a connection between these two applications. So this was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Not just with these applications, you can create automation between multiple other applications with the help of Pabbly Connect. If you have any questions, you can contact us on support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can check the queries on forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, then you can check out this link. If you like this video, please do subscribe to our channel, hit on the like button, comment on if you have any questions or doubts, and please share this video.